Watch the VOD, you came on guns blazing. Okay, you know what? Here, let's take a look. Hold on. We'll see. We're gonna do a quick optics check. And by the way, I want to be clear, the only reason we're doing this is because she's not a guy. That's it. I want to be super clear about that. You know what? Here, let's take a look. With how friendly I've been to Comrade Cora in the past.
I am D2G's favorite commie. I kind of hang out in the broader leftist sphere. I talk about communism. I talk about at the hell app of chaos.
Webcam here. You know what? Let's not be zoomed in so you can't see how bad I am at Bloodborne. Okay, let's go. Look, I get overconsumption's a problem, but whether you like it or not, I mean, I want my fucking standard of living, standard of, so you probably know what I just showed. And then you say, I cannot take white men who yell about socialism means everyone still gets to keep the same standard of living or it isn't socialism, seriously. What about black people or people in the global south who the West profits from? The standard of living is a capitalist concept. Do you want to elaborate on that in any way?
I mean, I just want you to ask me like how you feel about like degrowth and how you feel about what I said. Like, I mean, I'm not going to defend anything that I said on Twitter because it's Twitter. So like, I'm coming here for you.
So yeah, anybody who, this should be a massive red flag, by the way. Anybody who, no, sorry, YouTube chat. Anybody who says, I'm not going to defend what I said on Twitter because it's Twitter, like, okay, I think that off the bat should be a huge red flag. So she says, I'm not going to defend anything I said on Twitter. So I say, okay, then I'll just keep attacking what you said on Twitter.
You to ask me.
On Twitter. So first of all, the white men thing is pretty weird. I understand broader, like generalized criticisms, but I don't know what that has to do with my argument here.
Well, I mean, I'm a person of color, so if I say the word white, I think I'm allowed to, right? Like, who cares? Like, that's just silly.
I didn't say you're not allowed to, but it's pretty weird.
Why do you think it's...
Somebody in chat was saying that I got mad about the white thing. Am I mad here? I'm just pointing out that I think it's weird. It's clearly meant to in some way imply my argument is worse for it.
It's weird.
I think it's a little weird for me to make
an
argument and for people to dismiss it by implying that my whiteness has something to do with the non-validity of that argument.
Okay, so let me push back on this first 1 second, and then I would like to get back on the subject, but I do want to say this. So when we're talking about people of color, when we're talking about marginalized folks, when we're talking about anybody who is not living in the imperial court.
So now we have, this is essentially liberal Lidpool. You can dress it up, but that's basically what it is.
When we're not talking about, when we look at how capitalism and imperialism has impacted the...
Are you going to give the same treatment to other male tankies like Hakeem and Infrared? Infrared came on for 4 minutes and was so stupid I didn't know if he was a troll, and that's the last time I'm talking to him. His fans can complain all he wants, but when people... So guys, you know about responsible platforming, all right? There's like one type of person I don't bring on, and it's people who make their audiences off of my exposure, and their audiences don't care whether or not they're right or wrong. Infrared is so stupid that he could say or do anything. He could scoop shit out of his own asshole and eat it on live cam, and his audience would not be affected by it, because those are the type of people who follow him. It's like a performance art thing. So it doesn't matter how hard I dunk on him, it doesn't affect anything, and he'll probably scream over me the whole time anyway. So the only, talking to him can only benefit him. Hakeem, while I disagree with him on plenty, actually does care about the things he says and believes. As much as I criticize Hakeem, he's not like a fake performance artist. Dude actually believes his shit. So I'm willing to have that conversation with him, but not with Infrared.
The rest of the world for the last 400 years. No one, when I say that this is a white person talking, it's not saying that like Vaush is white, don't listen to him because he's white. It's that generally like whiteness carries a perspective that is, it outweighs any other kind of marginalization. It outweighs all kinds of other factors in the discussion.
So this is another huge red flag. She says essentially, hey, I'm not pointing out that you're white to delegitimize your arguments. And then she goes on to say, yeah, that's basically exactly what I'm doing here. Like, that's what she's saying right here, that your whiteness overrides other perspectives. So it's worth pointing out, it's an effort to delegitimize my argument, you know? That's exactly what she's doing, but she denies it like 4 or 5 times in a row. Like the Uyghur genocide, another thing she denies.
That you're having.
So
if you're
it's
talking
not
about
you dismissing it because I'm white, but it is.
No, because your whiteness is heavier than any other marginalization that you have, and that's just a fact.
What does that have to do with the argument that I made? Why not critique the argument? Why does it have to be
I can totally critique the argument, but like that's just the hyperbolic statement that I'm saying. So you wanted to know why I said it. I'm giving you the reason.
Saying that a person is white while criticizing them is not what hyperbole means. Hyperbole means overstating a point for rhetorical effect or for comedic effect or whatever. Pointing out that a person is white isn't overstating anything. It's a statement. It's true, I am white, but it was clearly not done for comedic hyperbole.
Why I said it and what it means.
That's not what hyperbolic means. Hyperbolic doesn't mean calling a person white in a way that implies that that's in some way impugning my ability to make a coherent argument.
Do we want to go over the definition of hyperbolic? That's not identity politics. That's intersection. Like you have to be intersectional when we're talking about
the idea that my argument is less valid or that its validity is in some way. Hold on. Or that the validity of that argument is in some way determined by my race.
It's not about being invalid.
And wait, you just said that my whiteness weighs on my perspective more than any other marginalization, and you did that so because that influences my perspective. So what you're saying is my race in some way, shape, or form influences the validity or at least the thought process behind my takes. I actually can't believe there were people saying that I started this conversation super angry. You people gaslight the fuck out of me. How on earth? How could anybody watch this? Do you just not like watching like a woman being like disagreed with? I have no idea what level of simpery oh wait, we can't say that on Twitch. I have no idea what level of delusion you people are on. Maybe like it gets worse in a couple minutes. I'll try.
Oh no. I'm not saying it's because you are white that influences that is how your perspective is going to come across to like people of color. And so
I think people of color are perfectly capable of grappling with my arguments without impugning me for being white.
There's already a bias there. That's all I'm trying to point out.
There's always a bias to every. So pointing out that a person is white and therefore biased is the definition of delegitimizing their argument. Pointing out bias in an argument is one of the most effective ways of delegitimizing it. I don't know why she's running on this point. I would speed up the video, but I don't want to because I'm trying to catch tone here as well. But this is what lets people like Candace Owens get away with dismissing arguments because they are non-white. This is the definition of liberal identity politics. You give additional credence to arguments given by marginalized groups, and you wait, Mel, and you take validity away from groups or arguments made from. Is that rude? When she interrupts me twice, is me saying wait and then her name? Is that rude? I don't know. Is this my autism flaring up here? I don't know. Groups that are privileged. This is, in addition to being a bad way of determining which arguments are valid, is also incredibly effective for conservatives.
I don't know why you. Can we like talk about degrowth, please? Like, I don't know why you're fixated.
So there we go. This should be another massive red flag. I point out something to her. She backpedals 20 times. She denies, and then I explain again why my perspective on this is correct. And she says, you know what? Why are we even talking about this? This is another huge red flag. If I was talking to any guy by this point, I would already be well within my right to start dunking on them. Okay?
On this race thing, because I don't care. I wanted to talk to you about degrowth the entire time. Like,
don't worry. We only have about a dozen more tweets to get through, and then we can talk about the abstract ideas in their totality. I'm not going to give my... Wait, hold on. I don't want to give my audience the impression that you act in good faith. I have plenty. So the reason why I said this is because to my mind, she's already given like 4 red flags during this conversation. Like at this point in the conversation, I only say this after she has multiple times acted in ways which I consider to be bad faith. So I think at this point I'm justified in making this claim. But if I remember correctly, because I have chat up on the left here in the video, they're going to start saying that I'm too aggressive for saying that. But I expect you guys to be able to recognize red flags by now. I've been doing this for years. I know a lot of the people in Twitch chat, the people who are being displayed here on the left, you've been watching me long enough to be able to recognize this. Plenty of evidence that you don't.
So why would you even bring me on here if you're not even going to just give me the fair and balanced, like, TM, like, just I say my arguments, you say yours, and we kind of see where we meet and not meet.
So
like,
let me ask you: are you
you're
saying
going,
that your
you're kind
arguments
of
on Twitter are so bad that you're unwilling to defend them in a public setting?
no, I will actually elaborate on anything you want to talk to me about, but I think it is more productive for your audience, for me, and for you to have a conversation that is not fixated on just the content of Twitter.
Well, so the reason why this bothered me as well is because this is what every lying piece of shit does. They'll talk a lot of shit elsewhere, and then when they actually get called to account on a platform with tens of thousands of people watching, they don't want to talk about the stuff they said before because that was bad, and they know they can't defend those points, so they don't want to engage with it. And what we're going to see in the next 20 minutes, and I'm going to skip through it, what we're going to see is her doing everything in her power to avoid acknowledging any argument that I make, to just do everything possible, not to accept it, not to move past it, but to interrupt, to obfuscate. She's going to do everything that she can. I think that the content of the Twitter discussion frames the entirety of the discourse.
Well, not always, because like I'm obviously like, I mean, I don't like to take I don't take everything that you say on Twitter for face value.
You should.
I do know that you get.
I don't say dumb shit on Twitter.
You get no, I don't think it's not about whether you say dumb shit on Twitter. It's that anyone can say anything on Twitter. And so generally when anyone says a take or an idea, I try to not take everything with a grain of salt. I don't like literally see something on Twitter and go, that's exactly what that person believes in. I usually
then
like,
why don't we go through these so I can clarify how serious
if I can look at something and I go, oh, I think this person's like kind of shit posty or being memey, I just like don't care. It's
so
like,
first
whatever.
of all, first of all, then why don't we go through these tweets and you can tell me what you meant and what was memey or shit posting? And second of all, you're lying right now because you quote tweet me all the time. You quote, did you hear that? Why am I lying? That was a very deliberate intonation. You can almost hear the eyelashes fluttering when she says that. That's the shit you need to pay attention to because this is how abusers get away with it. This is that ooh-woo bullshit. That was a deliberate choice to phrase it in that way. Nobody talks like that normally. Not, why am I lying? It's, why am I lying? They do that to elicit sympathy. And by they, I mean abusers, by the way. Tweet me or you take screenshots of me on Twitter and impugn my ideas constantly. The idea that you just play live and let live with Twitter conversations is factually incorrect. You play serious with them until somebody holds you to account for the stuff that you say. In which, that's true, by the way. If you take a look at her Twitter history, you will find hundreds and hundreds of sincere tweets and posts making sincere arguments for things that she sincerely believes. But if called on them, it all becomes memes. It's like the Count Dankula argument. Nazis do this shit all the time. In which case, oh, it's Twitter. Oh, it's just hyperbolic. Oh, no. Let's talk about the ideas. Well, I want to talk about the ideas, but why don't we start that by clarifying what it is you believe in the context
but like,
of
here's
our conversation.
The thing. I don't. Okay, so let me back this up. How serious do you want to have this conversation with me?
I'm quite prepared to have a serious conversation about our conversation.
So if you want to have a serious conversation, then I would expect you to have the maturity to just
ignore the stupid shit you say on Twitter.
Well, if you want, like, I mean, I say stupid shit on Twitter. We'll say stupid shit on Twitter.
I will ignore everything on Twitter. I will drop the entire thing if you say these words. I say dumb shit on Twitter, and I do not want to defend it because it's not defensible. I mean, people can be mad, but I'm giving her an out here. This would be the out. I mean, she keeps saying, I don't want to go over it. It's memes. It's not serious. Like, why you take it so literally? Okay, if you're going to shit talk me on Twitter and then have a conversation with me immediately after that, yeah, obviously Twitter's going to come up. And yeah, you're going to need to bite the bullet on the worthlessness of your online engagement if you want me to ignore it. Yeah, this was an act of mercy, by the way, but she didn't take it.
Why are you boxing me into this corner?
The victim response. Why are you doing this to me? Why won't you just let me insult you and then say it's just memes? Why are you doing this to me?
Why
You
do
get
I
one
have to?
or the other. It's defensible or it's
not
not defensible. It's worth talking
no,
about
because
or it's not worth talking about.
that's not how that's not how basic communication works, or even implicitly implying any of the information that we looked at.
We
You're
can
just
go right ahead. So let's talk about this. So I said, yeah, we're going to boost their standard of living too. That's they being black people or people in the global south. We'll make the entire goddamn world richer is what we'll do, which I think is a lovely sentiment.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
How are you?
Didn't respond. She can't respond.
How would we, the United States, how would we do that?
Well, I think it's the responsibility of American leftists to try to detooth our military-industrial complex and our intelligence agencies, which would allow countries in the global south to develop with a little bit more autonomy. We can also try to do things to, say, for example, rein in our politicians domestically by focusing national attention on domestic issues. Black Lives Matter would be a good example of that. The more our agencies are dedicated to addressing social unrest domestically, the less they can do so abroad, which means we have less of an ability to fuck with countries like Bolivia or Venezuela or whatever.
Okay,
so and that would be a good way to. So notice how she asks me a direct question and I respond with a direct answer. Oh.
So how do we tackle the military-industrial complex?
Now, people got mad at me for this, but this follow-up question is utterly irrelevant to what we're discussing. We're talking about degrowth, and we're talking about that Twitter conversation, which I said I wanted to get through first and foremost. So she tries at this point and spends minutes doing this, trying to pivot away from the actual relevant conversation and instead move it towards the practical way to disempower the military-industrial complex, which, while I do have answers to it, would be a long-term process that would be incredibly complicated to talk about. I'm not saying that because I'm some sort of brain genius. It's just a complicated subject to discuss. But she insists on having this conversation. It has nothing to do with the conversation about degrowth that we're going to have and how to tackle the military-industrial complex.
But you brought it up, though. You brought it up, so I'm asking.
Do you want to talk about degrowth?
Yeah, but like you brought up, you listed the things that we could do. So how does
yes, I did. But you realize you could ask how fractally, and we could talk about any one subject forever. Now, I could have a conversation with you about the best way to address the military-industrial complex, but that would be a different conversation. If you want to pivot, you can do it the next time we talk.
This isn't a pivot. This is me just trying to like.
Did you hear the intonation in the voice again? This isn't a pivot. I mean, I can't do the tone myself because of my voice. You know, I sound very differently than her, but the way, yeah, it's the ooh pleading face is implicit in almost everything that she says. And it doesn't work on me because I hate women. But it might work on some of you simps. Wait, we can't make either of those jokes here. That was a meme, okay? I'm not sexist, all right? It doesn't work on me because I'm not sexist. And nobody's a simp. That's not even a real thing, okay? Just... Which is stressful.
Understand your framework, because I want to make sure that like I understand why you would specifically use the military-industrial complex as a solution to sort of push us in that direction.
So I see you're unwilling to address the point that I made there, so I'm going to move on to the next tweets because you're attempting to circumnavigate the conversation.
No, I'm not.
So people also said that I was rude for this, but I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do when a person will just not engage with the argument. You have to move on, right? I mean, otherwise I would give some 20-minute answer on the military-industrial complex, and then she could respond and be like, oh, well, how would you do that? That'd be hard. And then we're like on something that isn't even remotely relevant. There has to be a point where you just step forward with the convo. And I could tell that she was trying to avoid going over these tweets.
I'm just asking
Mel, a conversation on the principles behind degrowth has literally nothing to do with the tactical strategy of honestly going after FTM voice for being MTF for being hyper feminize. Wait, what point are you making? Mel's a trans woman. What are you talking about? Stop. What? No. This has nothing to do with people's voices. It's about their tone, okay? I'm not impugning Mel for having a higher pitched voice than me. I'm gonna kill myself. There are points in this conversation where she deliberately uses an inflex, a tonal shift designed to elicit sympathy. This is like 101 stuff, you know? Wait, I can't say that either! In a video game, in Minecraft. I meant I'll kill myself in Minecraft, not in real life. Not in real life. I'm very, very healthy, and I have a wonderful life, and I'm proud to be living, okay? No. Okay, just addressing the military-industrial complex. These are not related.
I'm asking you politely for fucking brevity. I'm not trying to pivot. I am making sure that I understand.
What do you want to
position.
do with that information?
I just want to make sure that I understand your framework. Do you not know how frameworks work in conversation? I want to make sure I understand your worldview. So then when I
So this one is also really strange because frameworks don't have anything to do with like the way in which I would address this. The military-industrial complex thing is just not relevant to the conversation. I'm just going to move ahead.
ask my
Reducing its power. What do you think reducing its power means?
What do you mean what I want it to do in America? What question is that? What does that even mean? How is that related to what I said?
That's an excellent question. How is any of this related to what we're talking about?
The distinctions of what separates me and you and our political ideologies and our principles is how
I felt Vaush was dodging this. If you believe I was dodging this subject, then you need to get better at recognizing which points of contention are on topic and which ones aren't. Look at this tweet. She's acting as if she went through the most harrowing experience of her life. What is this? I want to say Chaos as Mel is a fantastic person. Leftist, she taught me a lot, remains exceptionally kind despite the shit she gets. Sent her some love today. Oh my god. By the way, this person has called me a pedophile, and this person reposts Nazi memes about Jews. So this person is not exactly a shining beacon of moral well-being themselves. And then Mel responds by saying thank you. And then people respond to say that it's cope posting, which is true. Okay, that's fine.
How much we feel we want to, how much we feel about those sort of causes.
Because this does have nothing to do with degrowth. I mean, literally nothing. We're talking about military action versus economic growth. How about you put a pin in it, and I can answer this question once we're done with the Twitter thread. Does that work?
I suppose I'm...
Okay. I don't know how to be more good faith than this, by the way. I'm sorry, guys. If a person really wants to get off topic, this is the best, most polite way. The whole time she was trying to wrangle that conversation away from the correct direction, I was thinking in my head, what is the nicest possible way I can address this? You know? Okay. Wonderful.
I don't know how. Okay.
So I said, we're going to boost everyone's standard of living. And then you say, can you tell me how this works? Really interested to know. That's fine. It's a clarifying question. So I say, you couldn't
do that when I asked you before. Sorry.
Yeah, because this clarifying question was relevant to the discussion that we're having.
Oh, okay. So it's only relevant to this particular part, but it's not relevant when I ask you, like in the conversation.
It is relevant when we're talking about degrowth, Mel.
Well, everything's relevant about degrowth because the military-industrial complex impacts the global South and the economies there.
You do realize,
like, you do realize that, like, when the United States military sends contractors in northern Syria to guard oil wells.
Okay, now we're about to get like 30 seconds of who asked. Does anyone know the DGG emote? Askers? That's what we're getting right here.
Extract that oil out of Syria with the SDF. That is the military impacting the global South. And that oil does belong to the Syrians.
Why are you under the impression? Why are you saying this? I already said that one of the ways in which I would try to reduce the American influence in the rest of the world. Wait, hold on. You realize the only reason I brought up the military-industrial complex is because I know the thing that you just said. But we've already addressed this.
So if you know this, then why can't you say that?
Mel,
if you know
because
this,
we're
then why
talking
can't you
about
just tell me?
degrowth. Mel, I know you don't want to go over these tweets. You can leave the call if you don't want to go over them. We have to get through them to get to the broader conversation. That is the price of entry.
You can just ask me.
So anyway,
you can just be a normal human being and just ask me how I feel about these things instead of.
So again, this is Count Dankula's argument, word for word. Remember the Count Dankula discussion? Why don't you just ask me if I'm a racist? Huh? Why don't you just ignore those hundreds and thousands of tweet responses where people are unironically repeating Nazi rhetoric. Just ask me if I'm a racist. You know, like, yeah, this is identical. Good Scottish accent. No, it wasn't, but thank you. You know, this is like 1-to-1. You know, maybe just me, but I didn't understand what happened in the convo till you explained it. All the rhetorical wrangling went straight overhead. Oh, good. This can be rhetoric 103 then. Chat, do any of the rest of you feel this way, that going over it again can be helpful? With me going over it can be helpful in you understanding the sort of rhetorical games that were taking place? Okay, then we'll go over another like 15 or so minutes, okay? So I'm going to be a little more attentive here, okay?
Reading every single tweet
if I was
to
talking,
extrapolate
if
things.
I was talking to a Nazi wait, hold on.
Vaush,
if I was talking
this is
to
not
a
how
Nazi
normal fucking
and
human
I
beings
dog
talk.
wait, so that's another thing that she's done a couple of times here. This is not how normal human beings talk. I'll step over the possibility that this could be kind of like a subtly ableist insult, and instead say that it's practically a non sequitur. It's like an appeal to like, this isn't how normal people do it. Normal people would ignore the tweets. Normality doesn't have anything to do with it. There's not really that much social precedent when it comes to how to deal with being brought onto a live stream to argue over tweets that you've done. There's not exactly like a book to look into, you know? I don't think that what I did here was like especially abnormal, you know? But
no one just reads from a fucking tweet and goes, well, what did you mean by this and that and the other thing?
So,
like, that's ridiculous.
Really? What? So this to me, again, this is how red does a flag have to get? Nobody does this. They look at a tweet and then they ask what it means. This is like, I like, it's beyond parody. Isn't that what you do? That's what you do, right? You look at a tweet and then I don't even know. As far as I'm concerned, if a person speaks to me in this way, they deserve nothing from me. Absolutely nothing. And the conversation between them and I turns from a discussion into an opportunity for me to abuse them with mean words and clever insults. But I held on. I persevered, okay? Because once a person starts saying shit like, you're really gonna do that? That's pretty autistic, bro. You're gonna read my tweets and interpret meanings from them? If a person runs down that line, like, what am I supposed to do? You know? But I tried to hold on. I'll be happy to explain. I'll be happy to explain this to you. So I talk to Nazis very often. Fascists.
I don't care
Nazis.
if you talk to Nazis. I don't fucking care.
Immediately interrupts a clarifying statement.
I don't care. What does that have to do with this? I don't fucking care.
Well, if you let me continue, then I'd be able to explain to you how it's relevant.
I know you debate Nazis, okay? We all know that's how you got.
Hey, Mel, come on. Now, I talk to people like that pretty often, and what I find they do is they act like absolute morons, or often they dog whistle on social media, but then when I talk to them in person, they lie to me. So I think that you're about as honest as a member of that group.
So I am now a neo-Nazi.
She does this so many times, and she does it with the exact same flair of like Candace Owens shrugging and saying, how can I be a white supremacist? So I specifically said there, you're about as honest as those people. But she says, wow, so you're saying I'm a Nazi, because she wants to play the victim. The goal here, and by the way, if any of you have had a shitty abusive partner, you've had this happen before, okay? You've all seen this happen, and it goes exactly like this. You walk up to your partner and you say, hey, I really don't like how you treated me back there. And they say, wow, so you're saying I'm a bad person? And then the argument starts. This is a common pattern of behavior. This is how abusers work. This is how they do their bad shit. They do it because most people don't have... Sorry, I was closing the window. That's why it was so bright behind me. They do it because most people do not have the skills necessary to recognize when they are being fucked with, okay? And I want all of you to have those skills for political and for personal reasons. It's very, very, very important to be able to notice behavior like this.
You're going to call a trans woman of color a neo-Nazi.
Ooh, nice. Call a trans woman of color a neo-Nazi. That is, again, a Candace Owens tier argument. I've heard that one so many times. I've heard that. Well, that's a Nick Fuentes argument right there, huh? How can I be a white supremacist? I'm a Mexican or whatever, you know? That is a very, very common argument. And liberal id poll, by the way. Wait, hold on. Nice liberal id poll. Also, I say Vaush as dishonest as one. Not that you are one. Thank you. And
but
yeah,
you're still
considering
comparing
your
me to
propensity
one.
for
So why
denying
would you
genocides, I don't
me
know.
to one?
So
why would you?
Listen to the tone. Why are you comparing me to one? Why are you comparing me to one? That's not That's not the pitch of the voice. That's the tone used. Victim playing. I specifically said why I made that comparison. I said that Nazis tend to engage in a behavior. And then I said, you engage in that behavior. You're currently engaging in it. You're as dishonest as they are in this respect. I've already answered the question, but she knows she can't directly rebuke the argument. So instead, Vaush, I really think the tone is just frustrated. Don't give her the benefit of the doubt. She spent this whole conversation lying. But no, that's how abusers get away with it too. Oh, I'm sure that was just a bad day. Oh, I'm sure they just didn't think their argument through. No, 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 no. This is cultivated, calculated behavior that people do to abuse others.
You compare me to one.
Considering
That's
your
silly.
propensity for denying genocides, I don't know. Maybe you got some cards up your sleeve. Who knows?
No, why would I do that?
So anyway, let's listen to that tone. She sounds like a groiper. No, why would I do that? She laughed. Now, again, I cannot, if I close my eyes and I hear that, I just hear like I'm listening. It sounds like I'm listening to Fuentes. Does that, like, can anyone blame me for being mean to her after this? These fake little laughs, like, no, I'm not a genocide denier. You know? I don't know how anyone could impugn me for my lack of civility here, but continue. You do realize not all growth is driven by... Why was that relevant?
Why was that picture?
I'll just mute you and then I'll continue. There we go. So this is where I muted her. Now, the reason why I muted her is because it was becoming impossible to actually run through the tweets. And she was about to ask, why was it relevant to show tweets of me denying genocide after I asked you why you compared me to a Nazi? That was what she was unironically about to say. I ask you, why did you compare me to a Nazi? And you brought up me denying a genocide. Why? Why? So I felt okay muting her. Yeah, I will mute you because you're clearly unwilling to talk about this because you know the shit you say is incredibly fucking stupid and you don't actually want to defend it. So I'll just go, and when I'm done reading it, I'll let you on. You do realize not all growth is driven by colonialism, right? Full economic development worldwide under autonomous socialism would add billions. By the way, it's funny because she was impugning me for not wanting to actually have the conversation, but I was actually way more willing to have it than she was. She was taking every tangential road possible to avoid dealing with the consequences of her actual tweets, whereas now, like, I have to mute her to be able to move on with the conversation. To the modern labor force. Neocolonialism doesn't generate total wealth, it limits it while ensuring that the rewards are gained unequally. All right. Welcome back. Did you hear that?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Well, this isn't really a side, but Mel is a child. I actually don't know how old Mel is. I think she's around my age, but like getting muted in a convo because you keep talking over the host and like, nah, I wasn't listening when we know she was, of course, she's lying. Is, I don't know. It's just really, really juvenile. Well, do you remember the tweet?
Oh no, I don't read. I mean, we can both play stupid if you want. If you're gonna mute me, then I can just be stubborn about it. If you're gonna be a child, sincerely.
Then we have the projection. If you're going to be a child, then I'll just ignore you. You did mute her with came off as childish. Honestly, if you think this is an unjustified mute, I think you're kind of a dumb fuck. I don't know how this could possibly be construed as childish on my part. But this is projection on her part. She does something incredibly childish, and then she realizes in her head, this is what happened in her head. I unmuted her. I asked her if she heard what I had said. She said, no, I wasn't listening. And then I ask, not skipping a beat, because I'm cool. Do you remember what the tweet said then? And then she said, no, I don't read. I let it hang for a little bit. And she realizes she sounds dumb as fuck. She sounds like an idiot right now. Because she knows I had to mute her to continue with the convo. She knows that she was the one who just came off looking like a child, but she can't have that. So instead, she says...
I can just be stubborn about it. We can both play stupid if you want. If you're gonna mute me, then I can just be stubborn about it. If you're gonna be a child,
if you're gonna be a child, you know, Vaush, if you're going to be a child,
really like
I can't.
sincerely
So
want to have a,
I told you.
I've been wanting to have a mature conversation with you for like
You're doing
months
very
now.
good. I've been wanting to have a mature conversation with you. After acting like a child, I've been wanting to have the mature conversation with you. Good. Now, I wanted to talk to you about
You're
degrowth.
very
So wait,
condescending.
can I ask you just some yes/no questions? I know you have trouble with those, but I just want to know.
So
Wait, that's a yes/no. Wait, that was a yes/no
entire,
question.
if your entire thing is just to sit here and just say, ask me yes, no on every single thing that I believe in to extrapolate some
No,
kind
that's
of
not what I'm
baseline
doing.
framework.
So this is interesting. This might be a personal psychosis on the part of Mel. Mel is triggered by yes/no questions. Mel is a genocide denier who doesn't care about the suffering and the death of Uyghur Muslims in China, and she gets asked about it a lot, like a lot. And I think now, at this point, she unironically, and I'm not using this language euphemistically, gets triggered by yes/no questions on her terrible opinions. I actually think that's something that happens with her now. So she says here, this point where I just paused, she said, "Is this what you're going to do? You're just going to bevel me with yes/no questions?" But that's the first time I've mentioned it. Or it's one of the first yes/no questions that I've done. We've been talking for 15 minutes now. And I didn't really like lay that many on her, but she's so defensive about them that that she got upset like right away. Dylan Burns is talking about some disagreements with your autonomous socialism. Okay, I'll take a look at it later. It's not really relevant to what we're doing right now.
What I believe in, but that's what everyone seems to do. So like,
so
if you're just going to
the reason why people ask you yes/no questions is because they don't think you're honest.
You don't know people. You don't
Wait,
because this is.
See, again, what is it? I think I actually believe this is some kind of trauma from Mel. I actually do believe that. I was about to say, like, why they do it. She's like, no, you don't know. You don't know. Like, I actually think there's some damage here. You don't know people. You don't know. Well, yeah, it's pretty easy. The reason people ask you yes/no questions is because you never answer them. You never, ever answer them. You never directly answer questions. Ever. Because your opinions are bad, and you know that, so you squirm. But I do genuinely believe that she's insecure about that, or in some way aware of the problem with this strategy.
Twitter, because this is Twitter.
So when people no, this is a live stream, Mel. So wait, when people ask you, are the Uyghur Muslims being genocided, and you don't answer yes or no, is that because you're principally opposed to yes or no questions?
Why is this important? This is not.
See, this isn't important. This is a pivot. I'm directly responding to something that she said. She said, you do not know why people ask yes/no questions. I bring up why, and it has to do with her genocide denial. And then she says, no, this doesn't matter. Remember how just 5 minutes ago, she was impugning me for not wanting to talk about something actually irrelevant, whereas now she doesn't want to talk about something directly relevant. So what does she do? She calls it irrelevant. She knows the best way to get on the side of my audience is to mirror the accusations that I have made of her. In the eyes of my audience, accusations that I have made and the implications for my conversation with her are things they take seriously. So the best way for her to avoid consequences for her behavior is to take those criticisms and just reflect them back onto me. Because those criticisms have already been demonstrated to have merit in some contexts. So maybe here, maybe even more so.
Not important. I can't do anything for the Uyghurs, and neither can you. So can we talk about economic degrowth?
Wait, hold on. Wait. I can't do anything for Jews in the 1940s. Does it matter whether... So, by the way, I don't know how red flags can get. Mel saying that she doesn't care about answering questions on the Uyghur Muslim genocide because there's nothing she can do to save them is insane. I don't know how anyone in chat ever at any point impugned my treatment of her, ever, after she said this, because that argument applies equally to the Holocaust. And that argument is so insane, I've never even heard it from a Nazi. I've never even heard a Nazi say, why does it matter whether or not I believe the Holocaust? Because it already happened, whatever. It's stupid, obviously, but it's not just stupid. It is the most irrational possible justification for being unwilling to give an opinion on this matter. It is simultaneously reprehensible and also indicative, in my mind, of some kind of dysfunction. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know. There's something wrong for a person to have to make an argument like this. Mel did not believe what she was saying was true when she said it. She did not believe that. This is the epitome of a bad faith argument. Isn't that ableism? No, I don't think it's ableism to say that a person, there has to be something fucked up with them to make an argument like that. Why can't I sub? It's available on every channel but yours. I got rid of my sub button. Whether or not I say yes or no to the existence of the Holocaust.
That's a ridiculous comparison. Let's talk about.
Wait, you just said you don't care about your answer because you can't affect it. That's the same for the Holocaust. The Holocaust happened 80 years ago.
That's a really silly pivot. Can we talk?
She can't answer. Do you notice the tone that she's using? She's not just saying, I think this is silly. I don't think this is comparable. She's saying, that's a really silly pivot. In a little way, she actually sounds kind of like ContraPoints, you know? That's a really silly pivot, you know? Like that demeaning tone. It's beyond condescension. It's this like, this juvenile distancing from like the even idea that this conversation should be taken seriously. Contra is better than that. Well, I mean, the tone is similar to what Contra does, but Contra doesn't do debates. Contra does, you know, good content. So, yeah, that's very good, sweetie. Delightful, by the way, when Contra does it.
About degrowth.
You actually can't answer. This is why, by the way, it's very important to go over not what you want to talk about, but what you don't. You are an unfathomably dishonest person, and you clearly don't want to have this conversation. People were mad at me for this. I don't know how many flags have to be lined up. I feel like not only has everything been laid out before you here, I feel like I also pointed out whenever she engaged in behavior that I considered to be exceptionally, virulently bad. So I don't think this is me being mean. If you can't see it because of my chat being up. I mean, I can get rid of it if I want to, but the chat that's on the video over there, if you were able to watch it, and you will be eventually when all this gets put into video, in some form or another, you'll be able to see there are a lot of people who are saying like, that was mean of you, that was wrong. And I don't understand. I think there are two possibilities. I've already covered the sexism one. I think the other possibility is, it could just be like Mel fans or tankies or whatever who are engaging in concern trolling. It reminds me, though, of the ways in which, like, the far right will, in bad faith, weaponize liberal identity politics to try to get people's minds on or off something. Conservatives do this all the time. Conservatives will sneer at identity politics or preferential treatment based on race, you know, explicitly, all the time, but then they'll play every possible defense for Candace Owens. They do this very often, too. But that's their prerogative, I guess. Let's go for a few more minutes of this.
I've been wanting to have the conversation about degrowth, but like you don't want to have it.
No,
with
you
me
didn't at all.
You just want to retweet.
So, she's been wanting to have a conversation about degrowth, even though she had to be muted to continue it, and she is the one who kept trying to pull the topic away from it.
And like try and dunk on me, and it's kind of silly.
So, then what's your opinion on this tweet that is about degrowth?
I just want to talk about degrowth.
What is your opinion on the tweet that I provided? Do you realize?
What's your definition of degrowth, Vaush?
I see. Mike from PA did the same thing. She doesn't want to engage. I'm not. Keep in mind, I'm asking her for what she wanted, her opinion on a topic. I'm asking her for her opinion on a topic. I'm doing now what she wanted, to move away from the tweets directly and to now engage in a more analytical type of discussion. But she doesn't want to do that because she doesn't want to have any conversation. What she wants to do is she wants to pivot. Provided a tweet. Would you like to give me your opinion on it?
Gosh, what's your definition of degrowth? Tell me. All right,
then I'll move to the next set of tweets, and I will bring... I mean, if you can be quiet, you can stay here.
Can you tell me the definition of degrowth? Like
we have to go through the tweets, and then we can have.
No, we don't. You don't have to go through the tweets. We don't have to go through them. I came here to have a conversation with you, but you know, if you.
She came here to have a conversation. You know, she's just a casual. This is another thing that smaller content creators will do with me, especially people on the left. They frame me as some sort of evil overlord, and when they venture into my lair, they're just like playing it cash, you know? Anytime I try to hold them to account or criticize their behavior, I'm the one who's presumed to be in the wrong because of my respective social power relations. but I'm not a judge. I'm not a cop. I'm a live streamer. If you come on here, I'm going to treat you the same as anybody else. That's how it works.
You want to be bad faith about this. And,
Yes, going over a topic and trying to ask you direct questions that you refuse to answer is me being bad faith. So then...
How am I... Okay.
Yeah, okay. So then you say, almost all the growth in the global north is from wealth and resources extracted from the global south in some way.
That's true,
Even if it isn't directly exploitative, it depends on the down-the-line commodified exchanges with capital that abuse fragile systems, see IMF, World Bank. You're literally doing the, well, I'm a first world socialist and I don't care about the global south stance. It's like, what? So the reason why I don't like these tweets very much is because nowhere in any of my tweets do I ever say, imply, or suggest that wealth in the global north is not derived from exploitation from the global south.
But why can't you just say that in your reply so I know that you know that, so I don't have...
So this is a... so leaving aside the fact that Mel legitimately doesn't seem to understand the definition of autonomy, and that's a problem that she has for a while in this discussion. The other issue here is what we call uncharitability. Now, if you have watched my content for any length of time, you will know what my opinion is on the IMF and the World Bank. Can you take a guess at it? Can you take a gander? Chat. Twitch chat. Just throw it out there, maybe. I don't like them. I don't like them. I think they're an arm of Western soft power, and I think they do a lot of bad. They do a lot of harm. I do not like them. Anyone who watches my content knows this. Not only that, but I have never said anywhere, under any circumstances, anything that implies that I think they're good. So, given the fact that I'm a socialist, Mel is now saying that I'm at fault for her implying I'm pro-IMF and World Bank because I didn't specifically say otherwise. So this is a problem with charitability. Now, I didn't also explicitly say in my tweet that I don't want to beat up racial minorities, you know. But if Mel quote tweeted and said, you can't, first of all the growth in the global south comes from wealth accrued from the global south. And also, you can't beat up minorities, Vaush. That's very bad. That would be kind of weird. It'd be slightly strange. You know, it would be a weird move. What is this? The out of context clipping has begun. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's find out. What are we being clipped for? Literally insane. Any of you support Vaush, but a loss here, so angry. Personally, oh, you were anti-Korean people. That's really disgusting.
Why would I be anti-Korean when I'm
because
Korean?
You hate
I care
them.
more. I hate.
You don't know anything about them. You're okay
yes,
with like geopolitical influence being exerted over them.
My own people. I was born in Korea.
Damn. Wow, that's like super vicious then. Gotta chill with that, okay? These people say I hate white people, but you know. Gotta calm down with that.
This is a real good look for you, Vaush.
So, you can be mad all you want. I don't think I did anything wrong here. Mel misrepresented geopolitically the situation in Southeast Asia. Mel plays defense for North Korea sort of implicitly here, which procures abominably bad living conditions for its citizens. And honestly, I don't think that Mel like cares about anything anywhere here. I don't think she cares. I don't. I just don't have the impression that she cares. And since she can throw any accusation she wants at me, yeah, what here am I supposed to be apologizing for? It's inconceivable to me that A, I could have a conversation with you and feel as though I'd done poorly, or B, that any of these sycophants who'd consider you a victor in this conversation could have had their mind changed. Personally, is that it? Seriously? MF pulled up the map and said, hey, look at the map. Ooh, look at the map with pretty colors. That's true. I did do that. I'll defend that. You can cancel me for that one. They also call you a pedo in the thread? Yeah, of course they are, because tankies are red fash. They act exactly the same. Anyway, actually, the only thing here that's really yikes is Mel saying that she can't be anti-Korean because they're her people. That's the argument that racists use. Oh, I can't be a white supremacist. I'm 1/4 Latin, you know? I can't be Jesse Lee Peterson. I can't be a white supremacist. I'm black, you know? I'm an Oreo cookie. Black on the outside, white on the inside. This is the argument that conservatives use, not leftists. It's ridiculous. But, you know, get canceled for whatever, so. Damn, like everyone in the replies here is like blocked me. All the tankies are mad. All the tankies are mad. Vaush telling Mel, I've met trans Nazis. Wait, that's true. And then accuses her of supporting genocide. Wait, you can't cancel me for stating two correct things in a row. That's not how that works. Yes. You can't, this one then the other. I can't, this is as factual as it comes. You know? You've seen me argue with trans Nazis, haven't you? Yeah, that's happened. Yeah, what are we missing here, you know? Anyway, these people are going to be mad forever, but please, just remember, they're not actual lefties, okay? So it's okay. It's like Tanky is getting mad at me for advocating for, like, BLM or something. All right. Well, anyway, they can mold forever. Did anyone get the impression from Mel that she was, like, on the left in that conversation? I don't know. Okay, just a few more minutes. Let's do it.
Have to implicitly correct it.
Right here. I did in the reply directly. Nothing about this involves the global south. Economic development will make everyone on Earth richer.
But it does, because that's where colonialization occurs, is mainly in the global south.
Right,
so
and then it's a good thing that I said in the previous tweet, autonomous socialism. With the next 5 minutes will be her not knowing what autonomous means. Oh, remember when she said autonomous means when you move businesses? Does she think autonomous like auto? Like moving, like a car? I don't even know. I don't even know what we're doing. Political autonomy and develop in ways. Oh no, wait, sorry, austerity. No, sorry, austerity was when you were in a car or something. I don't even know. Served its own people and not the business interests of the West. I think this is a really, really good question because it directly corrects the problem that you seem to have, rather than just using.
It just anyone can read that and agree with it. But what do you stand for principally with those things?
So wait, you agree? Wait, you agree then that a nation in the global South could uplift itself through economic development?
With it being completely removed, yeah. But that's what any nation, though. That's obvious.
So again, this whole thing was about degrowth. Earlier, she had said it's neoliberal to uplift a country by growing its economy, but now she says, well, yeah, that could be possible. She had no intention of or ability to engage in a good faith argument to begin with. It was not going to happen. I'm sorry, guys. I tried my best here, and there are a lot of interesting sort of wedge issues that can be discussed, but yeah, Mel doesn't know anything about any of this.
Obvious. Anyone with a basic economics degree knows this.
That's crazy. So if we could develop a geopolitical system that had foreign interference reduced, more countries... Wait, hold on. None of this tweet thread, the entirety of this tweet thread, where you were saying, I'm white, I'm a neoliberal talking point haver, what have you. Oh, you said it was a neoliberal talking point to say that you should increase economies. So that was good. You know, neoliberalism means whatever.
No, it's how you're uplifting. Most of the time when most of the time when countries are trying to uplift countries in the global south, they're using sort of things like the World Bank, or they're using
Have I ever advocated for the World Bank? Can you find a tweet or a video or anything of me advocating?
It's not that you are directly advocating for the World Bank.
Oh, but me saying autonomous socialism and then later clarifying saying uplift itself in ways that serve its own people and not business interests of the West. Have I not sufficiently indicated?
I mean, like, it's fine. I'm just disappointed. I'm just kind of disappointed in you. Like, I just...
See? There we go. Once more. So she says I didn't sufficiently clarify a point, and then I point out that, no, I clarified it explicitly. Multiple points, and then she doesn't have any more answers. She's out of additional talking points. I'm just so disappointed in you. No willingness to engage with these ideas.
figured this was going to be a pretty, like, I don't know.
So you don't have an
Good back
answer.
and forth.
So you know that I clarified my point perfectly well and you were being deliberately obtuse. By the way, this was a yes/no
No.
question and you didn't answer it. Afterwards you said, I'm not doing a lengthy dumb Twitter fight with you, after you had quote tweeted every single reply to maximize your fans' engagement on the subject.
I don't have fans. I just have people that like shit posts that I say on.
I don't have fans. I just have people who follow me and support me. What? Is she a liar, just dumb? She is a massive liar. She's an abuser. Don't let her get away with just, this is her being dumb. That is absolutely not the accurate description of her behavior here. Okay, I think we've done this to a sufficient extent here because at this point we're just rewatching the debate that I had 2 hours ago. I think that if in looking at this in fairness, that I treated her with respect that was absolutely deserving following her behavior. Seriously. I don't think that I was especially rude. There were a lot of people screaming optics, and I unironically believe that a lot of that was just sexism. I think that she threw red flag after red flag. There was very rarely fewer than one a minute. She would do it over and over and over again. She would very clearly try to obfuscate the point or manipulate tone or shift the conversation to avoid having to answer for the stuff she said or believed. And many of the ways in which she did it were deliberately designed to play on some sort of ooh-woo soft cuteness that a lot of people in chat fell for. Now, many of them were probably like Mel fans who were just acting in bad faith. But that aside, I really do think, like, just be careful with this kind of stuff, okay? If you can fall for it while watching me talk with people like this, you can fall for it, like, IRL, you know? You just don't make yourself vulnerable to that. You should have pressed her in the Uyghur shit way more. I don't know if you paid attention, but she was utterly unwilling to talk about the Uyghur Muslim shit. You keep mentioning the tone apart from the sarcasm. Have you thought it could be her voice training and that's just the way she talks? No, it's not. Voice training gives you a cadence, pitch gives you your voice. I'm talking about tone, the deliberate inflections that were invoked to sell a point. Okay? So I did some voice training to sound like this. This wasn't how I sounded after I was finished my vocal cords flattening or whatever, okay? But if I were to start talking like this, or if I were to start saying like, hey there, chat, how are you doing today? Now, it may be true that the voice that I am using is a product of me working to use my voice, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm deliberately invoking tone to try to elicit a certain mood or attitude or a response. And I think the way she did that in this conversation was cynically and very pointedly an effort to avoid having to take account for her behavior. The same way plenty of abusive women have done, probably to some of you, if you've worldly enough to have experienced that. No, whatever. Anyway, Jack Saint posted about you a bunch. Oh no, has Jack Saint fallen too? I think Jack Saint's generally I've had my beefs, but I think Jack Saint's a fairly reasonable. Let me see. My favorite byproduct of the vortex of anti-Vaush sentiment consuming the whole concept of left-wing YouTube is now every few days a random Marxist-Leninist confronts me with takes they're so certain that I have that I genuinely need to check to make sure I've never said or believed them. Uh-oh. Hey, as long as the takes you have are Vaushist-Leninist in nature, okay? 2019, BreadTube is an organic effort to combat online far-right radicalization in the progressive communities that formed as a direct result. 2020, BreadTube is any online leftist who I think is a liberal. 2021, BreadTube is Vaush and sometimes Destiny. Absolutely. I will consume all of it. I will swallow this entire online community. That's what I'm going to do, okay? I love living rent-free in these people's heads. Nothing brings me more joy. But I'm proud of that work. You know why? Because if I wasn't here talking about tankies, who the fuck else would, huh? All the pussies and the rest of the online left are too scared to confront a portion of their own fan base. So they'll just be a leftist and not attempt to cultivate any portion of their own community. I'm the one with the guts to get on out there and prune. All right? We're pruning out there, okay? We're, what's it called? Shucking corn, you know? We're doing something. All right? We're making people mad. That's for goddamn sure. Oh, it's good. It is good. I do want the left to be better than it is right now, though. You're so brave, Vaush. I am. I'm so brave. I do want the left to be better. The left can be a lot better than it is right now. It can be monumentally better than how it is right now. This is the fallen left, okay? This is the degraded left. Imagine thinking alienating half the left is space good in the long term. They're not leftists, buddy. I'm sorry. Reactionary, genocide-denying state capitalists who are so dishonest they can't worm their way through half a conversation are not leftists. There are people who think they're leftists. Dude, you're trending on Twitter? Wait, how do you see the full trending list? How does that work? Also, they're not half the left, by the way. They're a very small minority. The largest tanky YouTube channels are a fraction of my size. That's still fun to meme on them. How do you check? How do you check what's trending right now? Because if it's not like trending enough to be on the front page, search trend. Oh, here we go. Wait, what? I love these people. Never change. I talk to Nazis very often, Vaush. Why is he saying it like it's a good thing? That is a bad thing. You know, I don't talk friendly with them. 15, yeah, 15, of course, naturally. Okay, I saw the Jack Saint one. Wait, how do you see what's on trending? How does that even work? I don't even know how this works. Trending number here. Twitter trends. Give me the trends. It just shows me the first like 10. How do we see more? Explore tab trending page? Oh! Hey! There we go. Stay mad and stay bad. Number 24. On entertainment? Okay. Sure. I guess I'm on YouTube. Yeah, look, I'm only like 2 away from Antifa. That gets to be politics. Okay. Sure. Yeah.